You'll take pictures or?
Oh, I'm gonna take pictures. I assume we're talking about the golf team, right?
Yeah, looks to me like a part of the thing. I just want to make sure we signed in, but there's nobody signed up under delegations to speak. Is that correct?
Eight 717-322, is that Brian?
What is it?
871-7322, is that Brian?
It's 6 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and call Gilmer County's Board of Education's regular meeting to order. Tammy?
Here.
Jason? Here. Tom? Here. Brian, are you on there? I'll lead us in the pledge of allegiance. I'll stand up and take your hats off. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So, for the sake of this meeting, I'm going to make an amendment adjustment, and I'm going to move that we recognize the students at this time. So, Mr. Butler?
Yes. So we're going to recognize our school's golf team this evening. Somebody asked me, I got the opportunity to watch them golf, what I thought, and I was just in complete amazement. My golf game is a combination of hoeing corn and Easter egg hunting. And it is not a pretty sight, but that 1 out of 10 times you can see a drive hang and go where it's supposed to is addicting. But these guys were phenomenal. All of them, including our girl that's on the team. She did an outstanding job. They won their bid into the state golf tournament, got to compete in Wheeling. We're very proud of them. I'd like to introduce their coach and give each of the students that are here an opportunity to speak to the board and tell what they've experienced and what they love about golf. So this is Jacob Wolf. He's a teacher and also our head golf coach. Mr. Wolf, congratulations on this year's team. Thank you, sir.
I was going to be speaking here. As most of you know, I'm from here. Played golf a little bit back in my day. Came to teach here about 2 or 3 years ago, and got roped into coaching golf because they couldn't find anybody else. I think it was down to the last minute. That's my favorite speech that I had this parent. I don't know who it would be. Tanya Stewart.
Tanya.
Just kept on badgering me that last day there. And I tried every, refusal technique that I teach in my health class about trying to tell her, no, I'm good. It ended up being one of the biggest blessings of my life. I got to meet several wonderful young people, especially my 2 seniors. We've had a fun ride. They've actually held the program together here the past 2 years because, playing golf and then coaching golf, it's a completely different animal. Coaching baseball to coaching golf is a completely different animal. We've accomplished a lot in 2 years, I think. The biggest compliment I can give these 5 that I have right here is, if my son or my daughter ends up being like them, then I will be tickled, because they represent the county phenomenally as people. No matter how they played or anything like that, they represented us phenomenally as people. You know, you want me to introduce them, Jeff?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. We'll start with our freshman and Austin Stewart. Austin was very, very, how can I put it? He said no to me a lot. I didn't know that all it would take was for me to have Maya to ask him, and then magically 2 weeks before the season, Austin was wanting to play golf. Austin came a long way for us. He'd played golf, I think, when he was little. Hadn't really touched a golf club since then, and you know, he improved probably. I think we determined it was about 15 to 20 strokes from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. And while that seems like a lot, we've got a lot of room to improve next year. We talked about, because our goals continue to be the same. You know, we've got a good chance again at making it to states, and he knows now that with James and Adam leaving, he's the torchbearer for the team. My other freshman is Braylon Menser. He came out and he worked all summer on playing golf, and he improved dramatically. I think he shot his lowest score at the regional championship. He shot a 92. He had, I think, maybe broke 100 a couple times, which Doug knows. I mean, you know, that's
30 years later, I'm still on the list. Congratulations.
So, I mean, and I don't think they understand how important, how awesome it is. I played golf for 3 years with Doug's nephew, and we never even got a whiff at it. You know, we weren't as good as them, but you know, Maya's our girl. You know, she started last year. She is like a little sister to me, because I played golf with her brother, grew up with Ryan. I mean, I spent more time at her mom and dad's house, I think, than I did at my house whenever I was looking for Tammy. Playing basketball, and now the basketball hoop's gone. That breaks my heart. But Maya's improved dramatically. It takes a lot for somebody, I think, to come out and deal with all of us, you know, in and out. But Maya knows that she's going to be the leader next year, because she's going to be the oldest one there. She's been the one with the most experience, so she's going to be the leader. And then we have my two seniors, Adam Stewart and James Moore. Adam's done a tremendous amount. He's out of the golf course all the time. You know, he's phenomenal. I have Grayson with me, which is my son, all the time, and Adam is just phenomenal with Grayson, treats him like he's his little brother, really good with him. Adam is my leader. Like, if I need anything done, Adam's the guy I go to, and it is taken care of. The message is delivered to the players. Couldn't ask for anything more from a leader. And then we have James. James has actually went to states now twice. He went to states last year. He was the #1 qualifier. I forgot, Adam missed going to states by just in a tiebreaker, just one stroke in a tiebreaker last year. So, I mean, great career from both of them. But James went last year as an individual. We were both new to that and didn't know what we were doing at all. I remember the second morning we woke up and it was like 20 degrees, and James had to wear a pair of my pants. I was surprised they fit him, because James is, you know, in shape. I'm not as in shape as I used to be. That was a really cold morning. James also made all LKC this year. So tremendous accomplishment that he's had within the 2 years, and it was a pleasure to coach them. And whether this be it or whether I continue going on, you know, it's been a real joy. So I guess, Austin, would you like to come and speak first, since you were the first one I introduced?
Why not?
I just want to start by saying that the experience at States was amazing. I probably had the most fun that I've had in my life, honestly. My two seniors, I've had the greatest time with them. If I ever need a ride, they're always there for me. And if they ever want to play golf, we're going out all the time, and it's just amazing. I've met some amazing people while playing golf, and I'm very glad that I was kind of made to do it. It's really been great and just amazing people that I've got to play with. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna start out by saying that this has been the best season of my life and probably will be. And the two seniors, Adam and James, they did so much for me, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without them. And they've always gave me rides and everything this year to and from practice, and that's all I could ask for from teammates, and it's been amazing. And I really loved it.
This was my second year of playing golf. I think what we have is definitely more than a team. It's more like a family, and we're all there to help each other when we need it, even when it's not easy. If we're having a hard time, we can just text each other, and it's not so hard. James and Adam are like older brothers, and we do FFA together, and there's a lot of our lives now that are intertwined, so it's going to be a lot different when they graduate. I hope Mr. Wolf comes back next year and that he's with us until my senior year. And I think we have a good future, and I think we can get a state ticket next year.
Being a senior, it was a really tough time to just realize that everywhere I played was just the last time that I played there. And it was just tough overall. And I've seen improvement from all these guys this year, and this has got to be the best team I've had in my 4 years. But I've also seen the most improvement from James. He's really stepped up as a leader, given us motivational speeches to and from, never let us put our heads down. He's really just showed up from a freshman to a senior, and he's really become a leader. Wolf's been a great coach for the past 2 years, and he's really just taught us a lot and always been there for us. If we ever need anything, he told us to come get him, and he'll be there. So this is a great team and some great people, and I've had a great time these past 2 years.
Love you, Adam.
It's been a long ride for my 4 years. Fortunately, it's not been long enough. Being a senior means a lot to me. Not only, like Adam said, does it mean that a lot of these places are going to be the last times that we play golf there, or go out on a trip there, or go ride in the van there. It's just really hard. But being a senior for me also means that every time that we go out and play and every time that we practice, it doesn't mean that it's practicing or playing for me. I play for all you guys. I want to lead you guys and wanted to be there for you guys. And it's a really big part of my life to know, to look at all you guys and see how far that you've come from the beginning of this year, from the beginning of last year. I mean, you guys are truly so good, and you don't realize it yet. I mean, it makes me so happy to know when I look at Austin, when I look at Braylon, you guys are me. 4 years ago, you guys are just like me, and you're gonna be better than me. I'll just tell you that now. You're not gonna hear me say it again. But you will be, I promise. And I'm really gonna miss all you guys a lot. Mr. Wolf, talk about a good coach, but you're a great guy. You're somebody, if I'm having trouble, I can go to you, talk me through it, help me through it. My family almost moved to Florida last year, and he offered me a place to stay. I mean, that's not something just your average coach would do. Adam, you've been here with me through it all since the first time. Actually convinced me to play, took me to first practice, didn't want to go, but I did. We've shared so much together, so many awards, achievements, stuff like that. Going to states for me was just way more than playing, way more than going to play. The last match that we were going to play as high schoolers, but the time that we spent there together, you know, this team, unlike Austin, I mean, I had probably one of the best times I've had ever. And I wouldn't trade that for anything. I wouldn't trade this team for anything. And I'm just thankful for all you guys. I'm gonna really miss you guys.
I'll just say, from my perspective of a golfer, brings great pride to Gilmer County for your accomplishments. And you need to talk to more guys and girls because there's just 3 of you coming back next year. It's on you. No pressure. Thank you. Is there anybody that wants to speak under delegations that did not sign up? Joanna, you came in late. Did you sign the attendance fee? Did you want to speak today? Because I had it up here. What do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I like that.
You also sign.
Together, like.
Just tell us where you want.
Looks so much like your dad did when we were growing up.
I get that a lot.
That wall right there, move that chair out there.
Yeah, that'll work. Over here. Well, your grandmother raised me.
Oh, did she?
Yes. They'll break one. Mama, Brittany, Alpha, James, and your mom. Which one of you had compassion? Okay, everybody look at me and smile. Okay. So we should be able to get everybody with your eyes open. Yeah, so.
All right, we're going to move on into the delegation portion of this meeting. And Christina Dobbs.
Okay. So basically, here we are yet again, still no change. I have been doing some research and trying to find answers for the questions and concerns that continue to be ignored. If my understanding is correct, our Board of Education is basically the boss. They vote on rules and regulations handed to them from our state level. So we come to these meetings because you as the board should be able to answer questions or at least address our concerns. I know it all goes by vote, period. What goes on the agenda is by the board saying so. I watched that happen in person when the 2 doctors decided it was to save the people and mask the schools. Masking wasn't on the agenda to be discussed, so our board voted on it. Then they added it. They had to vote to push it into the administration. It is in the meeting minutes that it was given to Patty and her administration. My understanding on this route was because the Board of Education was now asking to change the original masking policy according to the color map. Why only these 2 doctors, you ask? Well, the one is the health department and works with the school system. The other, well, because she is not bound by rules per se. So if we're going to listen to doctors, then it should be by recommendation of all the doctors in our community, not just the 2. I also know our Board of Education has the authority to take back the ability to control masks themselves, but it seems the ones enjoying the masking outnumber the ones who believe it should be personal choice. I'm also fully aware you mask our children not out of safety necessarily, but out of the need for face-to-face learning. If exposure happens while wearing a mask, the child exposed not only gets to remain in class, but I'm not even 100% sure they are told so that they can watch for symptoms. So I'm aware by unmasking, you could quarantine up to half the schools. But if I'm not wrong, you have accomplished that already this year through sports or eating lunch. So again, explain to me why continuing on this current route is keeping children in class and allowing our teachers to attempt to catch the children up on the lost education. Yes, you know, you are going to tell me they send work home while they are out. And you're right again, but seriously be honest. That work is busy work and they are learning nothing that they carry back to the class in order to move forward in their education. Is the virus real? Yes. Is it going to be here for a while? Yes. Is it time to get out of your own way? Yes. Let's move forward. If we muzzle our children until the virus leaves, then we will muzzle them until we as parents remove them from your systems and teach them ourselves. In doing so, you as the public system lose funds that are needed. I'm going to remind those listening, we have 4 seats up for re-election. Thank you.
Thank you. Lisa?
Yeah. Okay, so once again, we're here bringing our concerns to you, the Board of Education, and yet we are still falling on deaf ears. Our reentry plan states that no mandated face coverings unless the parent or individual chooses to. As long as Gilmer County is not in the red on the DHHR map, or unless the health department determines an outbreak. We've had neither. And I checked that on the website today before I come. School assemblies will be allowed if Gilmer County is green, yellow, or gold. As of yesterday, we were green. As of today, we have 17 cases, 4 of 8 school-age kids. Are they school-age kids in our school system or are they homeschooled? We don't know. Can't tell. However, Patty said we had to follow CDC guidelines. Do we choose which ones we follow? Because we're only following the mask because the CDC guidelines say proper ventilation, increase the ventilation. Clean air is essential for living and learning, and effective ventilation is an important part of COVID-19 prevention. Proper ventilation is the key prevention strategy for maintaining healthy environments. And I know that you guys got the money from all the CARES Act and everything else, and that is what the funding was to be used for. Purchasing portable air filtration units, air filters, none of that's been done. Repairing windows and doors so they can let in open and fresh air. So what are we doing? We're scaring our children. We're terrifying our children. My daughter is next door cheering right now. Had we been at the elementary school, those babies walk in and scan their wrist, and it's like little cellmates walking in. If they cough, they're scared of something that's not leaving. It's not going anywhere. We stop our parents from coming to the school between the hours of 8 and 3:30, 4 o'clock, because at 4 o'clock, our parents can come to the Wildcat University for the 4-H meeting and the celebration thing Tuesday, correct? But we can't be there for events that's going on with our children. So we're scaring our children. Unmask these kids. We're green. Why are we masked? We're green. They're scared because, and somebody, no names or whoever, has let one individual decide that we need to mask our children. I think it's time that we put our kids back in the normal school year that they were promised, and the parents are allowed back in the schools to see what their kids are doing. We shouldn't watch them on YouTube. Seriously. You guys enjoyed going and watching your kids. Tom, it was fun to have the kids at school at Sanford, wasn't it? We had our dinners and all the parents were there watching their children. That's what the programs are for. Put the parents back in. We're not at risk. We're not in danger. And that's all I've got.
Katie?
I want to say really quick, Kyle wishes he could be here, but he's at work tonight, so he has not given up. He's just couldn't get his shift covered. I grabbed this box of masks on my way in. Kids have these on all day. they're getting sniffles, it's getting cold outside, right? It just kind of happens. It says, do not wear if excessive moisture, poor ventilation, harmful, back up. Do not use a product if damage or if moisture absorption, yellowing, or mildew is present. I don't think we let our kids wear them until the point of mildew, but wet or yellowing, as we saw dirt, kids get dirty. So those are not effective, which I think we've already said, but I just wanted to point that out. Last board meeting, we talked about Mr. Putnam let us know that we had 155 students out for quarantining. And at that time, we were yellow, according to our color coding map. That means that there are less than 50 that are COVID positive. So that meant that at that time, 2 weeks ago, we had at least 150 out unnecessarily. That's a lot of kids missing a lot of education. So again, as we have said before, you guys are really probably sick of hearing because I'm sick of standing here talking about it. This quarantining, tracing, and things like that is not working, especially if the masks is supposed to be keeping them in school. It's not keeping them in school. It is to an extent, but it's not enough. You guys gave us the color coding map at the beginning of the year, and there's no reason for that to have changed to this extent. We have to at some point start living our lives the way, without things on our faces and without keeping our parents out of programs and things. You guys ask, and not just you guys, teachers and educators want parents to be involved in their kids' lives, in schools, outside of schools, and now we're not letting them. We're doing more damage to our kids that way as well as the parents, families. That support system for them is gone inside the schools. I, as you guys know, have taken my kids out and they're being homeschooled. So I don't have to worry about them being masked in school. They have learned so much, and they have come to me excited about, like, what are we learning in here? And guess what we get to do here? And they get to do one-on-one activities that they don't get to do in school anymore. We're not doing field trips. We're not doing hands-on stuff. They're not getting to do all of those things. But my biggest thing right now is them participating in sports. And I came to you guys about it a couple weeks ago, but sitting here and celebrating with these guys, and I am so excited for all that they accomplished and watching these kids, that some of them who didn't even want to participate in the sport that did, and are so glad for the growth that they had from that and the things that they learned and the leadership skills that they were able to develop and hone in on and be incredibly grateful to their parents, to their coaches for. I want that for my kids. I have seen growth in them from the time that they started at little elementary school. I commented on that policy, hoping to get them in there for that too. But I spoke with Mr. Lambert, who is part of the state board with the athletics, and he said that aside from the WVSSAC, that policy to keep our kids who are homeschooled and out of sports is a county policy, that they have no jurisdiction over the county and that the board can change that at any time. So I am asking you guys to consider doing that before it's too late and my kids cannot participate in a sport that they love. I have an email really quick that was sent. We asked parents for letters to you guys about their masks, and I think you have some of them that we weren't able to get this one printed in time. It's from a nurse, and I will not reveal her name because her job is on the line. But she says, I do not agree with the policy of school children having to wear masks. The masks being worn do not protect against COVID. The surgical masks boxes advise on the side of the box that they don't protect against the COVID virus. This is what those masks do. Cause the wearer to rebreathe their exhaled air, which lowers the oxygen they are receiving to their lungs and ultimately brains. They cause eye, skin, and nasal irritation. It increases the risk of sinus infections, prevents them from being able to see expressions during conversation, which is particularly important to younger children. Many people do not hear what is being said as well with the masks in place, and they cause a distraction from listening and learning. I will not even try to talk about the psychological effect the mask wearing is causing, because that is not my expertise, but we are all aware that this is happening. Why are our children wearing masks because of the pandemic when the masks themselves do not protect from this virus? I will not say my name simply because it would be detrimental to my employment, which is another issue altogether. When did we as parents lose the right to express our opinions about what is best for our children without fear of reprisal? Please consider all the facts when making your decision. Thank you. So I guess I would ask one that you guys consider making that adjustment to allow kids who are homeschooled or out of the district, as long as they are meeting eligibility requirements in grades and in ability to play physically, that they are allowed to play. And I would also ask that you guys consider taking back your power as our elected seats to make the decision for our kids to be in masks or not. Thank you.
Heidi Love?
I'm not here to cause a problem or anything, but I do want everybody to be aware of something. When this whole COVID thing started, it already had names. There was 22 different types. You can tell me when the Delta started, because I can show you on my phone when they said it was going to start. It was in June. June is when the Delta variants started, okay? We are already on the 5th. It has hit, as far as what the world is concerned, is with Brazil. Now, the United States is the only one that is trying to keep everybody masked, okay? Other countries have dropped that, have made it either you want to or you don't. And I think these parents have the right to decide. They have the right to decide if their children are masked or if their children get the shot, or if they get the shot, if you get the shot, or if I get the shot. It's a personal choice. What it comes down to, this is a world thing. It's not just in this country. We have had other problems. We've had the bird flu. We've had the swine flu. We've never, ever did this to our families. We've never, ever asked them to wear a mask, to take a shot. It would not go through. As far as air filtration, I agree with you. What was brought up last week with the blue lights going through, awesome idea. I wanted to talk last week about that because I have sons that work in the automotive and they work wonderfully. People that have asthma aren't having problem with asthma at work anymore. So that's a great thing that you guys are bringing into your school system. I just really would hope that the board itself would take over the right to decide if the kids need to wear the mask or not. I understand if the numbers are up, protect them in the classroom because you don't know about the child next to them. But as far as when this county is in green and everybody seems to be doing well, there's no reason for a child to wear a mask. There's no reason for a parent to worry about how long that child is wearing a mask. Because if you want to go by CDC guidelines, 2.5 hours, it needs to be changed. It needs to be kept in a brown paper bag. How many people are doing that? So what I'm asking you, as the board, take your right back. Don't leave it on one person and one doctor in this county. A doctor that probably doesn't even have a biochemist ability to decide about this stuff. Read stuff out of a magazine. No different than what you can read or I can read. And we all know we can all read the same paragraph and everybody's going to have a different perspective and get something else different out of it. It's not going to be the same. We need to come back as a community. This division has gotten totally outrageous, uncalled for. The people that aren't used to hearing The voices from the community don't know how to act. The voices are here. They're not going to leave. They're not going to go back to the way things used to be for you. And it's time for people to stand up. It is time to get on the phone and get more people involved. There's always going to be two sides, but there is a medium. There is a place in the middle where everybody can come together and can get along. Nobody has the right on one side or the other to say, I'm right, I'm right. You're talking about children. They need to have the most normal life as they possibly can. Remember your childhood, the fun you had, the activities your parents came to, the times your moms or your dads were in the classroom. These kids have the right too. But if you would like the list of the variants, I'd be happy to send them to you because the next one is coming up in February.
Thank you. Thank all of you for coming. We're going to move into the agenda itself, specifically the minutes from the October 4th work session and the 11th regular meeting. I make a motion we approve both. Tom seconds. Is there any questions or comments pertaining to those two items? If not, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Carried. Clay.
Good evening. I have a few things for you this evening. Number one, first and foremost, is the schedule of checks to be written. Are there any questions with those at this time?
I make a motion we approve the checks to be written as submitted. I have a motion and a second to approve the schedule of checks to be written that was presented. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you. The second thing, and I'll skip number 2 for a minute, the monthly financial report. You had in your packet the monthly financial report for July. You will, at the next meeting, you will have August and September and get us caught back up. When we roll over into a new year, things get backlogged for a little bit, and it takes time to get through that and get everything processed the way that it needs to be. Were there any questions with the monthly financial report for July 2021?
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the monthly financial report as presented. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
I'm sorry.
All right.
The last thing that I had for you tonight in your packet was the budget transfers and supplements. And that is current through the first part of October. Dr. Barr, just so you know, as budget adjustments become necessary, or we get grants that weren't originally budgeted or anything like that, I have to bring those before you for approval, and then they actually get activated in the system. So those come before the board before they're actually completed within our accounting system. And that's why you'll see those from time to time. I don't necessarily have them every month, but as the year goes on, there will be more. So as we get new grants, different things happen. Those have to be approved. Are there any questions with the budget supplements and transfer as they're presented?
I'll make a motion to accept the budget transfers and supplements as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
We'll move into the reports discussion and follows up. And looks like Joe's not here.
I can give you a little follow-up. We meet with ESG tomorrow at 1 o'clock. to discuss financing and moving forward. Last week, we started the 72-day count on the steps to be completed. So they have 72 days from last week to start this completion, and they've ordered stuff, and it looks like they're hoping to get started correctly, Clay, next week on the steps to the high school.
Waiting on the 8x8 posts necessary to build the wooden steps before they start tearing out the concrete. That was part of the process. Those have to be built before they tear anything out.
Patty, I have a question too about this. Maybe you can do it. Joey's not here. I was gonna ask him.
Okay.
On the facilities, we basically last June, we did about 4 projects. And you've got on the agenda tonight to recommend that the historic building for Gilmer Elementary. And the other 4 projects have not been let out for bid. One has, the way I understand it, just that.
The steps have been put out to bid, yes.
So I have trouble letting out to bid a building that's needed for space over one that's needed for safety, like the man trap at the high school.
We go February. We go November the 2nd to, no, we go to present it to November the 2nd to present our, the man trap at Gilmer County High School and the meat shop at Gilmer County High School. We have been able to secure about a 50-50 match on that SBA request. We will find out in December. As soon as we find that out, and we're working with Williams and Shriver right now, and they're getting ready to do the specs. They're working on that for the man trap and the meat shop. It's just a matter of where we fund it. So yeah, we are moving forward on that. The storage building is a completely different aspect because that's through levy funds that Mr. Price has been able to keep. And we've been working on this for about 2 years. So that's why that's a little different project than our big projects that we have laid out before you.
I know we talked about that. We said there was a need for it, but the thing that I don't want to lose track of, those things that you have, and you're pretty much assuring me now that there will be funding for those projects.
We've got funding for, we have funding for, help me, Trey.
Right, well, we have funding for those projects.
Yes.
That's all I need to know.
Yes.
Just to clarify, storage building will be paid for out of levy funds. The way that the current levy call is written at the end of every year, I have to take whatever amount has not been spent from the levy, and it gets divided on a per student or per school, per student basis. That's the way the levy is written. That's the way it gets divided, and it can basically be used on 4 different areas. And this facilities upgrades is one of them. It's written right there in the levy call. So that would be funded through the levy, which has nothing to do with these other projects.
I understand that. What I wanted to know from you and Patty is that we will have the funding to do those projects that we talked about since June getting done because of the safety issues.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I need to know. And I've been to some elementary and that's the price of storage building. And I know, and he told us, this was earlier on, and he told us about the need for that. There is a great need for that. I'm not objecting to that. I'm just saying, let's not lose sight of all the projects we got to do.
Right. Then, I mean, just clarify even further. Even if we wanted to take that money and spend it on the man trap at the high school, that's not an option. That's not the way that the levy is written. That is to be spent and is designated for projects at the elementary school. And even if we wanted to, based upon what the taxpayers of the county voted on, that's not an option.
You gotta spend it much.
It has to be spent at the elementary school.
No.
Tom, do you have any updates or the discussions about the meeting at the rec center, at the career center?
Let's see. We met last, I think it was Tuesday, And just a couple of things. Mr. Stearns had asked the board to increase the ALC evening hourly rate of teachers or instructors from $20 an hour to $25 an hour. And Patty met with us virtually, and I know that Mrs. The Superintendent of Calhoun County.
Waitsel.
Waitsel, yeah, she said that that was in line with what they were paying their personnel. So we voted and approved that. And also they're beginning adult education in the evening. So if you know people that need trained in some specific field, it's a great asset for us right here in the county. I think a lot of people don't understand this. If they're unemployed and they don't have a good job, they're doing something they would like to do, they can go down there and get trained into something and get a pretty good paying job. So on 2 evenings a week, which would be Monday evening and Thursday evening, and some Saturdays if need be, they'll be there. They also hired 2 bus drivers, Susie Kirkpatrick and Tommy Lewis. So that was about the extent of the thing, I think, that the board here would be interested in.
Anybody have any questions for Tom concerning the Calhoun Gilmer Career Center? Thank you, Tom. Move into new business.
Okay, this is permission to solicitate bids. It's not to ask, other than to solicitate the bids. What you have in your packet was when it was first originally in concept, they had Countryside Construction come in and kind of give a description of the project, and this is what he has. And Mr. Frazier, Mr. Price, and Mr. Chester was in on that meeting. So, I mean, if you, I'll defer to one of them to answer any of your questions about this description of the project. But this is just simply to permission to solicitate bids, and that's it. It's not to commit the board to anything, but to solicitate bids.
Would it be all right, Patty, if Mr. Price could describe the project for us a little bit?
I can, yes. Obviously, I've talked about this several times, not that long, I guess I was all over the night. We have a desperate need for storage in the building, and we met with actually 2 contractors last year. We met with Tommy Wellings, and we also met with Buzz Roberts on the site. We showed them what we were thinking, kind of what we had in mind. Their knowledge of construction, they said, no, it needs to be this wide to save yourself some money on different things. So I'll just tell you right now, that's not my area of expertise. I'm not a carpenter, but we worked with 2 carpenters on this to come up with that spec sheet. Now, we did not get one from Buzz, but he did provide quite a bit of input on that. And then Mr. Wellings was able to provide us with a spec sheet. So everything that's on that spec sheet is what we discussed, how we would make the building look cosmetically similar to the school, because it's a beautiful facility, and what we don't want is a dump right beside it. We want something that's going to look nice, but not also distracting from the facility. So that's why you see some block at the very bottom of it that's going to come up and match the facility that way. And then a loft that's going to go up, have some lighter weight storage. We have a lot of things that are coming up, like events that we have things over here. I brought over 2 boxes today from a PBIS reward activity that we had boxes in our hallway, and we just don't have any place to put them. So I brought that over here. The folks at the central office have been very supportive of that, for allowing us to have some place for that. I'll answer any questions as far as where we're at with that, but we're ready to take that spec sheet, put that out for bid. One thing I will share, Mr. Frazier and I and Mr. Chester, and I believe Patty also was there, we had this idea that we would talk with the architects about this to see if maybe this would be a project that they felt appropriate to take on. And the feedback that they provided with us is that we would save a lot of cost by doing this project locally. By taking this on ourselves, by putting it out to bid ourselves, we're going to put more on our plates. It's going to be more for us to manage, but it's going to save, it's going to be, we're gonna save a lot of money that way. So we've taken that advice and we are taking that on ourselves.
I think that's a good idea, Mr. Price, to handle that locally, and I think we need to look at the aspect too, that it's a safety issue there as well, because you got those halls stacked on something, if you have a fire drill or something, you got kids, and you should not have those things stacked around in the stairwell or the hallway.
Agreed.
Anyway, you just don't have space, so I understand that, but I do appreciate you going local.
And there will not be students in this building. It's not gonna be an outside classroom or anything like that. It's just gonna be for storage. So we'll make sure everybody's-
I make a motion for permission to solicit the bids for the elementary storage building.
I'll say.
So I have a motion and a second. Are there any other questions or comments? Thank you for the description. That kind of lays it out. I'm not a construction guy either. No other questions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Public library.
Public library.
After several conversations and visits from the public library, I would like to recommend this evening that the Board of Education budget and give $6,000 to the Gilmer Public Library for the intended purpose that it be spent on utilities. I know the board had requested, I provided you information in your packet on operating costs from the public library, the times that they've been here. Mrs. West has helped facilitate this process, and I think we have a good future ahead of us. A good working relationship has started there, and I think it is time that we step up and help fund the public library operationally, what we can do. And that $6,000 budget is my recommendation at this time. I would recommend that be approved on a tentative reimbursement basis, that they pay and we reimburse them for whatever the utilities are. Offsetting that cost for them will enable them to do other programs that they wish to do. But that is my recommendation at this time. Are there any questions about that?
Just an observation, I'm really glad you involved Ms. West in this, dealing with the library, because I think that's a big help.
Right.
And probably a big help to you as well.
Right.
And I would make a motion to approve your recommendation. Tim, as you said.
Any other questions?
Well, we'll get to that. I'll second that motion. So we have a motion and a second to allow, well, for the Gilmer County Board of Education to pay the utilities up to $6,000 at the library. It's a great idea. The communication from the library to this board has improved, and I thank you, Ms. West, for that, because I think you've been a direct help in that. I think for my whole tenure wanting to be, or being on this board, I think we wanted to help. It's just the communication wasn't there. So thank you for that, and I think we as a board and the community can only hope what little we do there can help the outreach that the library serves in this community. Thank you. Anybody else? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. At this point, I make a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Personnel. So Tammy's on there, so I'll call it.
Let's go, okay.
There's nobody else on there needs to be in.
No, okay.
I need to.
You all going out?
Yeah, we're going out.
Are you guys gonna call me or am I staying online?
Doug's calling you on his phone.
Okay.
Where's the
Got it,
gym?
but, yeah.
Go.
You don't remember?
It wasn't a gym when we first built. This was our gym. Yeah. It was the cafeteria too, but it was also our gym. The first year the school was built, I graduated from here. When they said it was 40-some years old, I was like, scary. It goes by fast.
Hey, Glenn, is there any way that I can give you and give you, to give you the public knowledge of the system that's going into the schools so I can present it at the practicing committee, Board of Education?
Yeah.
I would appreciate it.
Well, that has not officially gone out for bid yet, but kind of the tentative scope of what that project.
Right, that's all, I just want to give them an idea of what they can be working on.
Yeah.
Because no one has even,
Right.
yes, considered looking into changing their fire except they was not expensive. They want to take out really much room.
Yeah, and I mean, believe, that was one thing that we had initially talked about, was what does it look like in that room? They're like, no.
And I
It's
told,
too expensive to operate and it's too expensive.
I talked to my
to buy.
one, I talked to my one son that works on the, what I call a huge building.
Yeah,
And he said, I want to use.
yeah. It doesn't work. I mean, like the little individual stuff.
Yeah, I had that conversation. And I told him you had presented that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's my? Yeah.
Good things.
Hello?
Okay, we got you, Tammy.
There was no
Okay.
action taken. So we'll move right on into old unfinished business.
There is none.
Personnel.
You have an updated personnel list that was given to you this evening, striking Megan McKnight from substitute teacher. She pulled her application. So we have Elora Clothier, thank you. Professional for substitute teacher. Extracurricular, Michaela Fox for SAC coordinator 9 through 12. John T. Fox for auxiliary Mini Titan boys basketball coach. And Maggie Roberts, resignation, head Mini Titan cheerleader coach.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the personnel list presented by the superintendent. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Then under information, as I told you earlier, November the 2nd, we go to Charleston to present our SBA project, which we have almost a 50-50 match on it, so it feels pretty good about that. November the 1st to the 5th, we are planning a substitute recruitment activity here at center office, trying to get more people interested in becoming substitute teachers in the process. So we'll be available to them to try to get some more substitute teachers.
Thank you.
Do you still have to take that class?
It's an online class, yes.
Well, I'll start with the board comments. If there's nothing else for the superintendent. You sat here for months, Patty. We went from whatever color to whatever color to whatever color, and as of yesterday or today, I looked, it changes, and I know that we're green. This county's green. It's time that if they want to wear their mask, they still can. I'm asking you as the Doug Copper, not the president of this board, to do what we said we'd do in the things we gave these students day one. I asked you to sit down with your team and relook at that and get back in a timely manner so the citizens of Gilmer County know where we stand. They're here every week. They bring statistics to us. I'll read myself. I don't wear a mask, that's my choice. Jason does, and I appreciate and respect what Jason does, and the same as Tom and everybody in here. But we went back to green in this county. I don't know if her numbers were right. We have 17 cases today and only 4 were children. I don't know that. I don't know if we traced the ones that we sent home and the ones that were sick and how that worked. I don't know that. But I do know almost 2.5 months later, we're green. We are green. The DHHR map says it. It says, I mean, it changes. That's my opinion. I am who I am, and I'm not going to change from that. Anybody else have questions or comments? I make a motion to adjourn. 7:29. These are notes on your desk. Maybe some letters. Yes. There's some letters from different